I have been talking to you from this side of the game, how we look at it from this side, how we meditate, how we try to pull our attention in. This is a local situation here from where I'm starting. Let me give you a little brief idea from the other side. How would it be? Let me start from the top and come down and see how it looks like. At the top, there is nothing but totality of consciousness, ultimate creative power. It's a power that, because virtue of its power, can be conscious of anything it wants to be. It's consciousness, per se. When consciousness exists, it can be conscious of anything. And that's the creative power of consciousness. So, the consciousness creates different experiences around itself. It creates and experiences at the same time. And this process of creating and experiencing at the same time goes down all the way right up to the physical plane. Don't forget, this is the real nature of consciousness. When you have consciousness, it's not conscious of anything, it's conscious of anything it wants to. Therefore, the creative power and the power that picks up what it's creating is the same. Therefore, it creates and experiences at the same time. So this great power, only without division, without qualification, without numbers, without saying it is one. It can't be one if you have no concept of 2 or 3 or 5. It's not even one. It is beyond description, but it's consciousness. The only description we have is that it's the same quality of awareness that makes us aware right now, that makes us aware we are here, that makes us aware we are alive, that makes us have experience of life. Same consciousness is there. It devolves into different experiences. First, major experience, it devolves it. That like an ocean, it devolves into a drop. What is a drop? A drop is the same ocean in a small scale as an individual. When an ocean thinks I am drops, it becomes millions of drops, trillions of drops, unlimited drops. If the ocean is infinite, the number of drops becomes infinite also. The drops never leave the ocean. They are part of the ocean. There's nothing happened. There's no division. Experience has made them drops. And the totality of consciousness, the ultimate creator, now makes itself into drops within the ocean. And those drops are called souls. We are those souls. Our life, our awareness, our experiences are all arising from that experience of a drop within the ocean. But when the drop is given an identity of being a drop, it forgets the ocean. It thinks there are other drops around. It says, there are so many drops around me. Here, the one has become the many. By simple act of consciousness. The consciousness has suddenly devolved into the many, unlimited many. And they are all drops of the same consciousness, connected to the same consciousness, never left the same consciousness, and yet feeling that they are drops. Souls are in the same state with the ultimate creator. That we are individuated creators. We have individuated ourselves into that. First level of grand evolution and first level of basic creation of universes, of many universes after that. Then the drop wants to expand its experience. Notice, expand its experience. Now the expansion of experience can't take place where it's already infinite. So we add another instrument, a cover upon that drop, which makes it capable of expanding its experience. And that is called the causal body or the mind. The mind is the creative power. In order to give this costume to the drop, another power is created. Not a being, not a drop, a power is created. The power, the very strong power, the strongest power created by consciousness called time. Time is translated as Kal. Kal is the most important negative power that has been ever created. There is nothing that traps us more than Kal or time. Time is a power. It doesn't mean time is flowing. It's just a power. Time then creates and is given the devolved work of creating the mind and putting its own essence into the mind. Like the total ocean of totality put its own essence into the soul. The time puts its own essence into the mind, and mind begins to work according to the time that's picked up and begins to create past, present, and future, and spreads out time in a linear way so that you can travel on time and get caught up in the travel. Immediately after that comes the law of cause and effect, and all events are then packed on that by the mind. Time has done its job by creating the mind. Mind is in the same relationship with the time as the soul is in relationship to the Creator. And this timeless time then creates different kinds of time. It creates a time where it sets up the causes and to sets up events. Once it gets hold of a time that has flowing or time that has got a past, present, and future, it begins to load them with events. Infinite number of events. Loads all permutations, combinations possible of events that can be placed down and packs them nicely into little DVDs, little CDs, packs them into libraries and stores them at the very basic part of time. In the basement of time exist all these. Of course, the basement is very low on time, but when we look at it from here, it looks like at the top. It's the top because we call it the highest Akash. Akash means the sky. From our point of view, sitting here looking up at this devolution that's going on, it looks like we are looking up at the Akash, at the sky. There are many skies, several skies. Sky is a great phenomenon. To create a sky creates space, creates a world. A universe is created by a sky. Therefore, it's called Akash. Akash Bani means the sound that comes from the Akash. Akashic records, that means all the DVDs and CDs containing destinies placed in the Akash, placed there. So that Akash, which is the top of the causal plane of creation, where these are stored, these become very good instruments for time to place us into events over time. That's the now joy of creating a very great situation where souls can pick up experience from those DVDs, from those little consolidated events, packages of events. What does the event show? The event shows birth and death in a different form and all events in between. The first part of the DVD shows a birth at a certain point in time which has now been created to work linear, then death. How far apart? In terms of our physical time, about 2 to 3 million years. That is the life which is first created. That's the life of the causal body that we have. That's the life of our self covered with the mind. The soul which had no birth and no death, which was completely immortal and eternal, is now covered by a costume called the mind, which has a life. So it can be born, it will die after millions of years. And so now we make billions of years, we have millions of years, and the souls are put into that packet so that they can have events. Now, events start happening according to the DVD. Those events happen, and those events say we want more devolution. And we have expanded experience in different ways. There the experience is all at once. We can see, touch, taste, smell all in one grasp. There is no sense perception. It's an experience of grasp, totality of grasp. It's a copy of the experience of devolution from totality to the soul. It's a copy again. Time is making a copy of it and says you can experience everything at once. And then you spread it over time. Then we need little more devolution for greater variety of experiences. So put another cover upon ourselves, which we call the astral self, the astral body, It's not a body. It is the embedding of sense perceptions onto the same causal body. You embed them with sense perceptions, that sense perceptions covers it like an astral body. And now the experience gets divided. The experience is now seeing is separate, hearing is separate, touching is separate, everything becomes separate. And we have a variety of experiences. So we change the nature of experience of consciousness by adding on this. Then it's a great experience. We have several experiences during one lifetime of the causal body. And we keep on changing depending upon what the original DVD said. You will have 500 or 1,000 of these kind of lives before you go back to your own self, before you remove this costume. Each life is several million years old in the causal body. Now within one life, you are going to bring a number of astral lives. Average age, 1,000 to 3,000 of physical years. We wear that body for that much time. And therefore, a whole body of sensory perceptions. Nothing to tie us down. Pure sensory perceptions. Sensory perceptions as we know them working at 100% efficiency. That's our astral body. We fly, we live, we have all the work, and then we want to put it down into another form of experience. So we are born for short periods. In one astral life, we have several short periods in which we are born as human beings, as physical beings. And as physical beings, though we confine ourselves, we have the experience of matter and physicality as we are having now. We love it. We love this whole process. We are enjoying every level of devolution of consciousness right up to this point. Then time starts playing its little negative role. And the negative role the time plays through the mind and through the senses operating in time and our physical bodies acting in time, we begin to follow the law of cause and effect and begin to see everything that's happening must have a cause. And if there is a cause, it must have an effect. The law of karma is born. It's already stored in the causal plane. When we picked up the DVD, this whole program was already there. And that's why it's just being playing out. All these levels are just being playing out the original DVD. The original Akashic record that we had there. We are playing it out. But when we play it out here, then the mind, through sense perceptions, begins to enjoy life. And we forget that we came here for a temporary experience. Why do we forget? Because our initial desire was that we should have real experiences. Now, there is no real experience. How do we make an experience real when it's not real? Nothing is real. It's a play of consciousness. If consciousness can create anything, how do you make it real? First part is to cut off its origin, not to know how it came about. It's independent, standalone. Reality requires a standalone. If you find out it's happening because of that, it's no longer real. Then you know the real is the cause, which is causing this experience. We cut off experiences of one level from another of this grand evolution into 5 levels, which I just described. So when we cut off ourselves from that, this looks real. We cut off from each other also. So we cannot know one from the other, except at one time we can have only one reality. We can have only one delusion or illusion and one reality at one time, and they're both the same for us because there's no way to find out what is what. In this state, we've done a great job to create reality. We did not create illusions. The experience was not to create illusions, but to create realities. We created several levels of realities, and they were all several levels of illusion. But we made them perfect as realities, and we experiencing them now as realities. Now, since we took it as real, the experience itself, being our only reality, drew us to its attractive parts. And we desired more and more of those attractive parts. The more we desired, the more we got attached to them. And these two functions of the mind, desire and attachment, tied us down here forever. And the very principle of karma, the very principle that everything must follow cause and effect in a linear time, made it a permanent experience for us. We can't get out of it. We can go around it. We can go again and again in circles around it. But the cause and effect says, you do good or bad. Where did good and bad come from? Good and bad came as a category of the mind in order to preserve the law of karma, in order to have cause and effect. A cause and effect means that you can choose this and it will have this implication. If you choose something else, it will have another. Now, I said choose. How can we choose if the whole program has already been made? If the whole thing has been set up in a DVD, we are playing out, how can you choose? So we cut off our knowledge of the DVD and are given a very beautiful gift. The most wonderful gift any human being could have got. The experience of free will. The experience of choosing. The experience that there are options, alternatives available, and you have to decide which option to follow. A genuine experience. Totally unknown to us that there is a DVD which records that experience in advance. Totally unknowing that when we say should I or should I not, the word should I and should I not are in the DVD. That when we make a choice, the choice is already in the DVD. We're totally cut off from that. So free will becomes real. Like everything else becomes real. It's not that free will alone becomes real, the whole world becomes real. And free will becomes a part of it and becomes one of the most essential parts for a recovery of our true home. So free will is a very double-edged sword. Free will makes us do things which tie us up here forever through the law of karma, and free will is the one that makes us seek and get out of it also. It's a great experience. No matter if it's real or unreal. No matter we can say the DVD already has it. Some people tell me, if it is already recorded, why should I do this? I said, do you know the words, why should I do it, is already recorded. Everything is recorded in such perfection that even your thoughts, even your choice-making ability, even your decision how to choose, pre-recorded. But till you know that, till you see that, you feel it's all here, you're making your decisions. Beautiful. To create this kind of an illusion, where free will becomes real, even though it is not, is the most beautiful gift we got, because that very free will, the experience of free will, I don't call it free will because it's only an experience. If it were really true, if it was really true that free will is real, I would very much like to say, I can decide something that not even God knows. If God knows, it can't be free.